Hi, everyone. Good evening, good morning, wherever you're joining us from. Good day. Thank you so much. And welcome back to uh, the series of hands on learning that we've been doing together as part of Patchamomma 2026. And welcome back. Today's session three. Just give me a message or a like in the video or a thumbs up, whatever it is that you can do to show me that you're able to hear me okay and see me all right. Yeah, can I understand? Can I assume it's all okay and we can get started? Thank you. Thanks for the confirmation. So, once again, welcome everyone to Pachamama 2026 session 3. In the first couple of sessions, we've been looking at data, the source for your ideas, the source that will lead your innovation, that will lead your ideas, that will lead your learning, all of these things into application or product, whatever it is that you're trying to build. Of course, data is important, and we looked at databases in the first couple of sessions. First one, predominantly, we did databases. We did Cloud SQL. We learned a little bit about BigQuery and Cloud SQL, and then we also talked a little bit about AlloyDB. And the hands-on was predominantly Cloud SQL, and we just got hands-on with a basic data set that we used from BigQuery's public data set, and we were able to ingest that data in Cloud SQL, created a table, created a database, created a table, and then ingested the data. We looked at cloud storage, Google Cloud Storage. We also looked at Cloud Shell Terminal. We looked at Cloud Shell Machine, which is the Cloud Shell Terminal and Cloud Shell Editor. We also looked at some of the things around BigQuery. Just we understood how to use the public data sets that are available for you. There's like several millions of rows of data that are available for you for your prototypes or for the apps that you're trying to build as part of the build phase as well. But it's always there in BigQuery's public data set, so you can actually use that data set to test your application, or you can use it for building prototypes, or even learning certain aspects, or throughout your learning journey, as well as your build, prototype and test journeys. So that's what we've done in the first session. In the second session, we went one step further. We looked at BigQuery's data set and data ingestion process and the pipeline a little bit further in detail. And we also looked at a couple of important things. One is analytics from the perspective of Data Studio. We looked at how to create a generic report there, how to interact directly with your data set that's built in BigQuery. In our case, we used a public data set for e-commerce, and we interacted directly from directly from Data Studio, and interacted with BigQuery, and you were able to set up your dashboard. We just built something basic out there, and we were able to host that from Data Studio. And then we went one step further, and we also looked at BigQuery's conversational analytics. So conversational analytics is where we took our data that we already set up in BigQuery, and we went from there to building your agent, which is out of the box from BigQuery without having to write any line of code, just a few steps of configuration and point and click approaches. You were able to set up. I explained and I demonstrated how you can set up the conversational analytics part, and how you can get this agent to be accessible, basically to democratize the data and make sure your agentic interaction and the conversational analytics is available to the rest of your org, or to your customers, or to your investors, or whatever it is your target audience is. All right. So those are the two, a couple of sessions that we've covered, and we've covered quite a bit. It feels like you all, and I and the whole team for Pachamama and the Code Vipassana leads team, all of us have been interacting. It seems like we've been interacting for quite a while. That's only because of the details and the exhaustive interactions that we are having. Detailed, exhaustive is not bad. It's a good thing, because the level of detail that we are covering in our Q&A, the level of detail that you're covering in the learning. So all of these things have led for us to feel like we've been interacting continuously. I like it. Keep it coming, and let's continue. Just so you know, if I'm not very responsive on the Discord chat or in the meetup group, we do have our community leads who are trying to help you out. I'm also trying to help you out here and there. But the goal for it is all of you to come together and help each other as well, because we are not hundreds or 200s, we are in thousands. So we need to help out each other. If you're able to get somewhere sooner, kindly guide the way for others who are probably late to a certain sessions, or something happened infrastructure wise or instance wise and they're not able to catch up pretty quickly. So those are the things that I wanted to cover before we get started. And in today's session, now that the recap of what we have done in the first couple of sessions and what we discussed about the foundations of Pachamama in the first session done and out of the way, now we have to get started with the third part, which is building your application. So, why is this critical? Building your application is critical because it's not, of course, we need data, but then you have to start somewhere so that the external world can see your intention, can see your ideas, right? So, we do have. The data stored in data sets or in database. You have tables, rows and columns, or you have semi-structured data like Firebase, Firestore. You have unstructured data like cloud storage, what we did in session one. So all of these things are there, that's fine, but how will you give access to your end users or your customers or to your organization, for that matter, whoever it is you're building your idea for? How will they get access to this information that's out there in your idea, right? So that's exactly why application, the interface part comes into play. And of course the business logic, it's not just a window into the data. You're doing a bunch of things on top of the data and you're making this available for the user to choose from. If your idea is in the e-commerce world, you're probably showcasing everything that you have in your e-commerce site or in your store, and then you're allowing them to place orders, you're allowing them to interact and ask questions, you're allowing them to write feedback about a specific product, so on and so forth, right? Or if you're in the uh, if it's not for e-commerce, if you're in the banking sector, you're probably allowing them to make a few transactions. Depending on what your target business is or your usage is, you build the application. So that's why it's very critical. I mean, I know it sounds basic, but I just wanted to say why we are covering what we are covering. So it's not necessarily agentic application, any application for that matter. Of course nowadays we do have a session for multi-agent system, that we multi-agentic application that we'll be building very soon. That's actually the next session that's coming up. But that aside, in today's session you're going to understand, and you're going to, if you have your laptops on, if you're all connected, great. You don't need lab credits for today's session. You're going to jump right into vibe coding. We are going to use Google's AI Studio. We are going to use Antigravity IDE in order to get some ideas come, in order to get your ideas come to life. So yeah, it's going to be pretty breezy. You will just walk through it as if you own it. It's going to be that easy. There may be some people who are like already experts in doing these things, who already are aware. That's great. Continue building on your idea, continue ideating. If it resonates too much with you, great, help out other people who are asking questions around it. I would totally appreciate that. And if you are brand new, don't worry, it's as simple as the click of a button, or searching something, or just writing natural language requirements. That's how easy it is for you to get started with your idea. All right, so I'm going to share my screen right now and let's get started. I'll walk through a couple of slides first of all, and then we'll get started with, um, yeah, and then we'll get started with the hands on part. Okay, so this is what I wanted to share. So really quickly, so we'll just get started with Google's AI Studio and Antigravity IDE. So that's what you're going to do. You're going to build your idea. It's not the, it doesn't have to be your main idea. You can always work towards it, but use the tips and tricks that you're learning from this session to your advantage. Use it for the phase two, which is the build phase that is going to start on August 14th. So use it to build up to that. So use that to make sure your prompting guidelines are all on point. You have everything, all you're well equipped to prepare for your hands-on part. All right, so use these sessions as guiding series for you to get started. All right, so there are three steps, simple steps to get your idea into a live application. So the think phase, build phase, and publish phase, like we have in Pachamama, right? We have the learn phase, build phase, and the opportunities, the networking, and the present phase, right? So similarly, there are three phases to get straight from idea to production or idea to app. The think part, the intent, this is the core problem that you want to solve, whether it's a game you're building, or it's a productivity utility, or it's a core business application you're building. Think about it, set your intent accurately, know your vision, know what you're going to use this tool for, know what you're going to build for, who's your customer, who's your consumer, who's your buyer, who's the business that's solving for it. So understand everything around it. Next is the build phase. The build is where you're vibing with the vibe coding tools and the productivity tools that we are going to be looking at today. The AI Studio for instant prototypes, and Antigravity for agentic coding. So you just describe your idea and you'll watch the agent build your end to end application, the user interface, all in real time. The last phase, which is the third phase, which is publish, is to get your app to deploy instantly to Google Cloud, going from live preview to a public URL in no time. So that's exactly what we are looking at. And for this, we are going to be looking at Gemini AI Studio, and then which is the Google AI Studio, and then we have Anti-Gravity. The ideation phase is something that is very straightforward. You just go to gemini.google.com, and then you can get started with asking questions. You can talk about your intent, even if you don't know. Let's say you want to build a personal calendar app or something that will allow you to organize your thought process, and everything, like exclusively for days that you're feeling a little out of place and something like that. So I'm just thinking out loud. It can be anything, but something as simple as that. Now you don't know all the details of it right off the bat. So use Gemini the app, just to get all the important points around this idea, to empower your single line thought into a full blown ideated application that can come in handy for when you're actually building it out. So let the Gemini app ask you questions, and let it frame the thoughts, or build upon the thoughts that you initially have. So that is what we call as a think process. And for this, we are going to use the Gemini app. You just ask questions, get answers, or you ask the system to ask you questions, and while you shape the intent. And then the stitch, which is to frame your user interface. And then the build phase is where we are going to use Google AI Studio and Antigravity IDE. And then in the publish phase, we have Cloud Run. So this is the serverless runtime. It is as simple as one G-Cloud command. If you don't remember, we did the G-Cloud commands in session one, where you use command line interface commands to interact with Google Cloud services. So we'll use such a command to directly go. You can do that, or through the console, there is a publish button where you can directly deploy your idea or your preview app to cloud. So these are the three phases. And if you're wondering when should I use what, you can use anything in any level. Like um, if you can dive deeper, you can also use AI Studio to build full blown applications. I'm not saying that you cannot do that. It's just that if you don't know where to start, and if you're wondering, if this is the first time you're hearing about these things, and you're trying to get some rapid prototypes and applications and agentic applications built on top of each other, just keep it very simple and straightforward to make your life easier. Use AI Studio for rapid prototyping. So these are for builders and curious creators who want to just get started with a drawing, or a flow diagram, or just simple natural language description to get their app into a functional live preview instantly. And then next is the anti-gravity IDE for advanced builders and developers who are comfortable using either anti-gravity's IDE, or anti-gravity's IDE, while using the AI partner as an agent to do the heavy lifting. Then you do anti-gravity IDE. This is for slightly advanced builders and developers. The third one is anti-gravity CLI, where you use a smart terminal from any IDE of your choice, and make sure anti-gravity CLI is you're able to access anti-gravity CLI from there, and use command line based interactions to Gemini or to the anti-gravity CLI to get your work done. So this is for a step further, people who are more advanced and who are terminal purists, people who like to write command line commands to get their job done and for system level activities. So this is how you keep it simplified, so that so you know which tool to go whenever you're ready for it. All right, some important concepts and the terminologies that you'd be hearing time and again. Now, this might be very basic and very familiar, but even if it's so, please bear with me for a few seconds. If you're hearing it for the first time, I hope this is helpful for you. So, vibe coding, as we all know, it's not just coding altogether. It's simply shifting from you writing all manual syntax and correcting every single thing to a point where you vibe along with the agent or the coding assistant that's able to help you through the process, either end to end in some cases, while you have that expertise of what is going on and what needs to be changed, or in some cases just help with some aspects so you can get to where you want to go sooner. So that's what vibe coding is. Agentic AI. So these are models that don't just chat, right? This is AI that goes one level further and it takes action on your behalf. That's the main difference between AI and agentic AI, right? It doesn't just interact with you, it goes and takes the action on your behalf, whether it's browsing the web or running terminal commands or editing files and showing responses, whatever it is, it executes things for you on your behalf. Not just in this case, but also in your application. If you're integrating an agent, if you say, I want to place an order, the goal of it is to go and place an order. That's not the only action, but there are a lot more behind the scenes. We'll get to it, but you get the point. The other thing is tokens and quota. We'll be hearing this a lot. So the basic unit of any information that AI processes, whether as a request or as response. So that basic unit is what we call the tokens or the quota. This is the actual fuel that gets consumed when you're building or you're interacting with this agentic AI. So yes, you need to be mindful of how much information and how much quota you have for you to leverage in order to complete your application or your idea end to end. So all of those things come into play. So that's another terminology you may want to be familiar with. Next is model context protocol. This is like the USB-C, the universal connector for your AI agents to clearly see what the data sources have to offer. If you remember the databases and the data applications that we built in the first couple of sessions, remember the agent that we demonstrated in the second session using BigQuery's conversational analytics, that uses data from BigQuery directly as tools. But imagine a situation where the tools are available as individual components elsewhere, and then you're using your agentic application to connect to that. So these tools need to talk to the agent in a standard protocol, because there could be tools that book tickets. There will be tools that check availability of tickets. There will be another tool that checks the routes and the timing. So there are multiple activities, right? Each tool is capable of executing or performing a specific activity, or more. It depends on how complex you want your tools to get. But how these tools are interacting with your agent needs to follow a standard protocol, and that's what model context protocol means. It's a standard protocol that says you can build your tool within the same data source or you can save it somewhere else, but in any case, my agent, if it's talking to it, it will follow the standard. That's why we call it the universal connector for all of your tools to your AI agents, and vice versa. That's the model context protocol. Next is context window. So this is the active memory with which the agent operates to give you a response and to give you advice on the code and the other aspects that you build with your application, or in this case, that you use the Google AI Studio or Antigravity IDE for. So for example, Gemini's models support more than 2 million tokens, and that means that you get the entire workspace or the entire project covered within the context window, and it's aware of your entire project, and it's ready to answer questions and build applications on top of that. Does it mean it's going to use your data for training its own model? No. It's going to use that information to help you build during that context window or during that scope of your session within which you're operating, right? And artifacts. This is another terminology you would hear a lot. So these are specific outputs, the files, the objects, whether it's a code file or a snippet or a diagram or a live preview window, whatever it is that the AI, the tool that you're using is creating as a result of the interaction with you, those are called as artifacts. You will hear that quite a bit, or you will see that in the anti-gravity ID window quite a bit, because it will keep saying that the artifacts are stored here. Or you'd be, when you're reading a documentation or something, it will refer to these things as artifacts. So it's another important thing that you would have to keep in mind. All right. Now that it's out of the way, what are some of the AI features that you can integrate in your app? So you can integrate image generation, video generation, speech, audio, intelligence, Google search data as a grounding source of truth. You can add AI powered chatbot. You can add Google Maps data, so many more. This is just a subset of the things that are available for you to add. But whatever you want to enrich your application's experience, you can add that directly from the vibe coding tools that we're going to be using today to build your apps. So these are the AI features you can integrate into your app directly. Some of the features that you can integrate directly into your app. Now, for the main part, most important part, like as you are going to build now today, any sample app, maybe you're wanting to build a game, or you want to build some calendar, like I said, a calendar app, or something else that is a fitness app, or something that is going to be really quick, just for the sake of learning today. It doesn't have to be your final product, or it can be you're probably already clear of what you want to build in the build phase of Pachamama 2026. So you already have that idea. So if you want to get started, you have to understand the anatomy of a powerful prompt. So it's easy for us to say, listen, Gemini, go and build this. Now, this is what I want to get. Please build this. That's it. All this is great. You're very clear about what you want the tool to build for you. But what you don't know, or what you're not clear about, is what is the role of the AI agent there that you're asking the AI to. What role do you want the AI system to play in order to build this thing for you? Next, define the goal. What is the goal you're setting for the AI tool to build that application for you? What context are you provisioning on top of the request that you're keeping in front of it? Does your application need AI or agent or advanced AI or ML? Are you providing the kind of vibe you want? This vibe is not vibe coding, but this vibe is more about like theme, color, style. What kind of information are you providing for that? Right, create the vibe, and then optionally add more references. Like maybe you have a diagram, maybe you have a sample reference user interface that you want to share, right? Something that you can say, okay, I like this app from, maybe I like the Google search app, I want you to have the same theme as that. Here is a visual. Or maybe you like Google Maps experience, whatever it is that you like, you can give it as an additional visual reference. So this is how you expand a simple ask into a powerful prompt. And instead of saying, help me build an app to track my food and water intake, this is straightforward. You would think this is great. I'm saving context. But read the powerful prompt on the right hand side. You are an app builder who prioritizes good user experience. Now you're giving the AI system, the tool, a role. And then you're saying, create a web app that helps me track my food calories and water intake. There you have the goal. And then you're saying, I plan to use this app daily to count my calories and track my water intake, and I want weekly summary. Now, that is a context that you're adding, why you're building this, right? So you're giving more context as to how you'll be using it, who is the user, who's the end user, what kind of usage, what kind of questions will come in, and all that. And then you're suggesting that it would be good to use AI to track my calories if I can provide pictures of my food. Now, this statement establishes the need to use AI for the application. And finally, you're giving a vibe, a theme, a color system, or a color scheme, and then you're giving use the attached mockup for inspiration. This is as a visual reference. So that is a powerful prompt. Now there is minimal gap between what you intend to build and what the AI builds for you. So that's why it's always great to get started like that. Other advanced prompting techniques when it comes to building the idea or a prototype or an application of your choice is to iterate with action history. Don't just look at the result, right? Review it with action history to see exactly what are changed, what files are changed, what action did Gemini do while going back and making updates to what you wanted to do. Keep it iterative, right? If a specific logic or style is off, use the live preview to test it and change instantly. We'll see how to annotate and all that. Right? You can do targeted fixes. The next advanced technique is to use a layered build approach. So build it in cycles rather than all at once. You can give all the functionalities, but you can ask it to start building one by one, so that you can get the aesthetics that you need. You can also get the functionality that you need. You can make sure that there is nothing missed in the larger scheme of things. It's using the AI functions and applications as intended and all that. The next one is the architect interview. Now, before getting into complex features and building additional AI integrations or agentic integrations, um, ask your AI assistant or the vibe coding tool to ask you technical questions about your flow, the user flow, the technical flow, the tech stack before you start coding. So you're not asking questions to the agent that you've already done. Now you're asking the agent or the tool to ask you questions on the usage, the technology, the tech stack, and other things, so that the agent is clear about what are the priorities for it to build something to satisfy your intended goal and vision, while you ensure that when you're finding answers to those questions that the vibe coding tool asks you, you understand the tech stack and the architecture a little bit better. So you can control the narrative and you can set the goals appropriately, starting from choosing a tech stack or from choosing a specific service. Let's say it chooses Firestore over AlloyDB for some reason. And you say, yeah, that's Firestore is fine, but I want to use relational database for this thing. Right. So having that kind of control over what the application chooses, this architect interview, the other way around, it's like reverse interviewing, making the agent ask you questions would really help in the long run. The next one is blueprint optimization. So we write the prompt, great, amazing prompts you've written. Now ask the agent or the vibe coding tool to rewrite your prompt into a professional, detailed technical specification before you run the actual build phase, because this ensures that the code or the application that is generated is modular in nature and follows engineering best practices and also gets your approval before you get started. All right, so these are bare minimum. So I wanted to cover that because this is important. Even though these things sound very simple, sometimes it just gets a lot of your requirements uh, sorted out, um, without having any ambiguity, not just in understanding you, but at the same time in the implementation phase as well. Sometimes we just overlook these things and then it becomes really um, clumsy and the application gets complicated. A lot of features get added, or you probably forget where you started and then it went into fixing or healing a specific issue, and then you got stuck in another issue and then you forgot where you started. So all of those things can be avoided. As simple as it seems, it's important to remember and make sure that you're covering all the five advanced prompting techniques that we just discussed in order to make your life and your ideas simplified, but at the same time sophisticated in the long run. All right, now the build phase. We know that you always have a choice of model. You can pick the model from the drop down. We'll see where and what shortly. Now, getting started with AI Studio, this is where we are going to get hands on. But before we get hands on, I want to show you what it looks like. Sorry, I just jumped past a few slides. So here we are. So there are two modes. One is the playground mode and the other one is the build mode. Playground mode is a little bit uh, detailed. This is for folks who are already ready to test the prompts and explore model capabilities. The output primarily it will be either text or images or code snippets that you can copy over to your workspaces. It's best for people who are already developers or technical purists who are designing for specific logic. You have high control level here. Um, you can manually tune the model's responses and configuration. Whereas the build mode is where you are moving from simple idea to a live app preview. So you have minimal control, but it's low friction for anyone who's getting new to this or getting started. You will get a fully functional multi-file React web app as a result of this. It's low friction and AI manages the technical complexity for the most part. So what we are going to build in this, what you're seeing in my screen, is a React web app. That is a Space Invaders game, just some game that has music behind the scenes in the background, and it has a request for Tailwind CSS with 80s vaporwave aesthetic. the colors purples, pinks, and scan lines. And then you want to I want to play the game in the center window while the synthwave music plays in the background. Add three dummy tracks with play, pause, and skip options, and then show me a counter for the game. This is just a prompt for what we want to build, but you remember how we expanded the prompt into a high value prompt. So go with that approach and build anything of your choice. So what are the components? Let's look at the various components of the AI Studio itself. The part where you see the prompt entry is where you type your initial prompt, as you can see right here in this slide. um, Let me just, yeah, it starts over. It starts over in the center. You start entering your prompt, and then it slides over to the left in the navigation pane. It's not navigation pane in this part. It's called the prompt area. This is where you see your initial prompt, and then it shows the action history for everything that's been changing since your initial prompt. And then the prompt template, the prompt text box in the bottom, the text area, is where you continue to talk to AI, either directly through text, or you can use the annotate and other options, which we'll see shortly. So that's all there in the code assistant pane on the left hand side. And then on the right hand side, you have the preview mode and the code mode. The preview mode is showing you live app preview as you keep chatting with the app. And the code mode will show you the code that's getting built as you're chatting with the app. As you can see in the screenshot right away, on the left you see the code assistant mode, where you have the where you have the prompt text area where you continue to chat with AI, and on the right hand side, the app is already built based on the themes that we have mentioned in our requirement, and the code tab is there. We haven't clicked on the code tab, so you're seeing only preview. The code mode. So in this screenshot, you're seeing the code mode where the code button is clicked and you see the code, the list of files that are getting generated. And in the bottom, the toolbar area is where you see AI providing smart suggestions depending on your application, the original idea that you've put in. So let's say you want to build something of your own. Now, maybe you have not covered all the use cases. These smart suggestions help you add more features to your idea, even if you have not already through them thought about them in the beginning, right? So it'll give you add-on features as you keep building. It doesn't mean you have to incorporate everything. If in case you've forgotten and it looks like something that you can incorporate, then there you go. You can upgrade your projects by clicking those buttons. Now, you can also use annotation, microphone, and upload features to enhance your project. Let's see what these are. Annotation. So clicking this annotate app button will open the annotation toolbar directly, which will let you edit your app directly with visual instructions. It's like annotating a specific area and asking for something. Same thing, it's self-explanatory, the other two, the microphone and the upload features. You can upload and ask it to match the the vibe of a specific screenshot or something that you have entered. And lastly, the most important part, on the top right corner, you see the share and publish buttons. To share your app, you can click the share button. The publish one directly pushes it to cloud. Not directly, not at the click of a button. It'll ask you for the Google Cloud project. It'll ask you for the key, or the billing account. It'll ask you to choose that, and then it'll allow you to push it to Cloud Run directly. Or in case you want to deploy it elsewhere, you can use that too. So these are the options available. Now, a few things before we look at AI Studio really quickly is how will you master key features? There are many things. We are not going to cover everything, but few things the key things that you want to remember is that fixing errors with AI. If you encounter an error, simply click fix. There is a self fix button, and then Gemini's self healing engine automatically kicks in. It diagnoses and repairs the code. And then the annotate, speaker, upload is to enhance. These buttons are these options are to enhance your app using visual annotations, voice commands, or file uploads. So this allows or provides the agent with deeper context to refine your interface, your application, or functionality or logic the way you envision it progressively. Mark chat to enhance. So this is also, I mean, this is part of annotation bar. Once you click annotation, there's an annotation bar that comes up. You can either write comments, you can mark specific areas, or pinpoint segments of your app to show or to say what needs to be edited, and then use the add to chat to instruct the agent to take care of those things. So these things are very handy. So please keep a note of them when you're building. Don't be sitting by yourself and have all these great features but not using them when you actually need them. So that's why I wanted to cover that. Now publish your app, like I already said. You will need to have a Google Cloud project. You can select Google Cloud project and select create project if you don't already have one. Provide a name and then set up billing account. You can set up billing then and there. You can select billing account with credits, but I think you should be able to, without even minimum billing account at this point, you would still be able to deploy one or two apps, bare minimum. I think this was there last month. I hope it's still there, but do check it out. One or two apps directly to Cloud Run. So don't use it up right now. Just know how to do it. You should be able to publish it, like at least one or two apps for free. So try it out. Don't use it all up. At least keep one for your final project, right? All right. So the moment you publish it, the endpoint will be made available and it's deployed on cloud and it's available for you to use, to share, to prototype, to do, and everything else that you want to do with this app. All right. Now, moving on to the AI Studio. Here we are. This is Google AI Studio. So how do you go here? aistudio.google.com. So that's what you enter, aistudio.google.com. Hit enter. Now, since we build applications that are built with the help of AI, that's a different thing. But you want the application itself to use AI for certain features, right? So, what is needed for those? The bare minimum is you have an API key. Now, the best bet is for you to get an API key and keep it handy before you get started so that any application you're building futuristically or anything that you're ideating, and if you want to incorporate AI, you have your API key handy and good to go, rather than wondering where is it, how can I get API key and all that, right? So here you go. Once you go to aistudio.google.com, it will ask you to log in, and then you will see your email account in the bottom left corner, the profile. Right above that, you see four buttons or four icons. One is the notifications bell, the next one is a settings icon, the next one is a search icon, and the last one is the get API key icon, the key icon that you see. Click that, and you will click the create API key button on the top right corner. Name your key. Maybe you can say my first Gemini API key or whatever it is that you're building. Give a relevant name. And if you don't have an existing Google Cloud project, you can just say create project instead of importing one. So once you create project, you will have to name it, provide a name for it, and then say create project. And the moment you create a project, it will automatically import that. And then you click create key. I'm not clicking that right now because it will show the key instantly on the screen. I don't want to do that, but just go ahead. It won't show. Probably it'll be hidden, but still, I don't want. I have keys. So whenever you're ready to build, just click create key and copy the API key and store it somewhere. Make sure your applications are not hard coding your API key. That's poor development practice. So don't ever do that. Make sure you have it as runtime variables. But the best thing is to use it in secrets. So use it as a not even environment variable. Using it in secrets, like there is a service called secrets in Google Cloud. So the best bet is to use it using that service rather than you can pass it as environment variables for development environment, but make sure it's never visible or not part of the code that you're checking in or submitting or anything. Even for our build phase, if you're submitting with API key as part of your code, whenever you're ready to submit, you will be disqualified because that is bare minimum. All right. So copy this click create key and get your API. This is how you get API key from AI Studio. All right. So once you have your API key, we are all set. Just go to aistudio.google.com/apps and you see the prompt area that says build your ideas with Gemini. Just go ahead, build anything you want. Similar to what we saw in the slides early on, a few slides ago, the same prompt I just submitted here, and it has already built it for me. So I can actually reload the app, or I can just start playing. I can play the music, so on and so forth, right? So the code interface is right here. You can make changes here, or you can just export the code directly to a zip, or you can export it to Antigravity. These are all options available. The preview of the app. I'm not going to spend too much time in playing this game right now because I don't know how to play it. I don't know. I didn't read too much into the prompt, but yeah, you know what you're building. So whenever your code is built and your app is previewed, just feel free to go ahead and play it, or go if it's a useful app that you're building, go ahead and use it and see if it's all set to go. Now, remember the share button. So clicking share makes your code available um, to anyone with a link, or restricted depending on the access you provide. And then you have the chat option, which we already had. We had the settings, you can choose the model and other things. And then you had the publish button, which when clicked, get started, it will ask you for your Google Cloud project, it will ask you for your billing account, and then it will build your app's URL. And then once you click publish your app, it will automatically generate the uh, Google Cloud's Cloud Run, which is a serverless runtime, which makes your service available on Google Cloud instantly. And that endpoint you can use and provide security, authentication, authorization on top of that, or you can use it available for public, depending on what your intention and the goal and the vision for your idea is. Versions, again, for app versioning, you can use this. Integrations, if you want to integrate it with other out of the box integrations, you can check it out. Secrets, like I said, use your API key and other things right from here so that you're not hard coding it in your code. GitHub, connect to your GitHub directly, sign in from here, and you can push code directly rather than having to download it and export and doing all that. Or you can directly push it to GitHub from command line terminal, which will also come up right here. Once you go to the code mode, you can go to terminal from within the scope of your this thing itself. All right, so that's about AI Studio. I hope this is something that can get you started with your idea, and you're not wondering, where do I start? I want to build my app. I have an idea. I don't know where to start. This should be a good starting point for you. And the data applications that we built in the first couple of sessions, the databases and the data warehouse, and the analytics, the conversational analytics, and all those things that we addressed in the first couple of sessions should come in handy for you to integrate with the app that you're building from here. So this is the first step. Oh, I see what has happened. I was only sharing one tab, so you did not see the second one, which is that's okay. I'll just really quickly show this. I was only showing one screen, so let me just quickly share the whole window. It's not stuck. It's just that I was not sharing the tab. All right, there we go. So this is the AI Studio, Google AI Studio app that I was talking about. Um, you go to aistudio.google.com. The moment you land there, it'll bring you here. In the bottom left corner, you see the profile, and you see notifications button, settings button, the search button, and the get API key icon. So I was showing how to get API key. I'll show that really quickly one more time. Click this get API key button once you land in aistudio.google.com. And on the top right corner, you see create API key button. Click that. It will ask you for a name, provide a name for your key. And then in the second drop down where you choose an imported project, click that. If you don't have an existing project or you want to create a new project, choose the create project option. Once you click that, it'll ask you to name your project, whatever you want, and then create project. The moment you create project, it will automatically create that project and load it right here. This is Google Cloud's project. So even if you go to console.cloud.google.com, these projects will be made available there. And then the moment your project shows up in the drop down, click that and click the button that says create key. The moment you say create key, it will automatically load a pop-up with an API key. Copy that and store it somewhere. Use it in your application, not as a hard-coded value, but as a secret or as an environment variable, which is not checked in into your source control. So this is what I was showing. Now that this is the API key is ready, go to aistudio.google.com/apps. The moment you land on the page, you will come to build your ideas with Gemini, the prompt area, where you enter the prompt, the application or the idea that you have. Remember the high value prompt, the expanded prompt that we have. So go ahead and expand your prompt in a way that is resourceful for the agent to be able to help you. Type it in there or paste it, and make sure that you're giving proper references, uploading files if required, and all that, and hit enter. The moment you do that, you'll be getting the prompt, the code assistant on the left hand side. It'll be it'll be sliding to your left, and you will be seeing the action history with files that are edited, the instructions, and everything on the left hand side. In the bottom, you can continue to type your prompt, you can continue to make additional feature additions, you can continue to annotate, or you can continue to add files or use the microphone depending on what you want to do. On the right hand side, you have the preview mode, which when clicked, you see the app that you wanted to build in the first place, the app's preview, of course. And then you can click to play or click to execute, or try out your app right here. And then the code mode will show you the list of files that are created for this, the project, the entire project itself with the corresponding code files. And in the top right corner of my screen, you see the share button and the publish button, but there's also export. This is to export your code directly to Antigravity, because you can do a lot more. There you can use extensions that allow you to integrate it with other services, the database services, and so on and so forth. And you can build it in any environment with any tech stack of your choice. Or you can also download it as a zip file, the source code itself. Upon clicking share, I show to you that you can share your code with the link depending on how you want to share it, restricted or public. And then the publish button is where you click that, and you will be able to load the description and all those things. You can give an app name, and then because we've already selected a project, it will, once you click publish your app, it will check if you have a valid billing account, and it'll push it to Cloud Run. Versions, again, this one is to, as you continue to publish more, it'll update the versions as well. Integrations, these are services natively available out of the box, and you can integrate with these services. As you can see, Cloud SQL is also there. We built Cloud SQL, so you already know how to get started. There is also Firebase, which you can get started with if you don't want to use Cloud SQL. You want semi-structured data, JSON as JSON data, document database. Then you choose Firebase from here. You can have OAuth integration. You can have meeting if your app has something to do with meetings, or you can include anything of your choice that's available out of the box right here. And then you have the secrets button, where you can add more secrets for your project instead of directly hard coding it in your application. And then GitHub integration, you can directly sync your code to GitHub once you log in. All these things you can do from here. All right. Now, I'll stop sharing for once. Yeah, so go to that. It's all point and click. There's nothing that's not you can't figure out. It's just aistudio.google.com/apps. Just go in there, and you should be able to get started first with your API key, because you would eventually need to integrate AI features in your application. So this will really help you for that. And then you will start building your application. We already saw the annotation mode and all those things in the slides, so I didn't particularly show those things here, but feel free to use those when you're actually building it. Now, moving on, let's move on to the next part, which is the anti-gravity. Let me share my slides again. There we go. I would have typically asked you to take a 30-second water break or something, but since we had to redo, I apologize for that, because my entire screen was not getting shared. Only one tab was shared, so I had to uh, revisit some of the steps that I had missed while I was showing the slides tab. So I apologize for that, but again, we'll have to continue now. So, getting started with Google's anti-gravity. Anti-gravity is an agent-first tool. First of all, it's locally downloadable, right? You can download the ID, you can download the agent manager, and it allows high-speed workflows and deep access to your project files. So you can use AI Studio for live previews and move to Antigravity when you're ready for system level implementation, or you can directly start with Antigravity too, depending on what your comfort level is. Switch from a single prompt interface to a mission control where you can orchestrate autonomous agents, which is agents that take care of the code, agents that take care of the looking at reference tabs, reference sites, and other things. So it works across your editor, your terminal, and browser all simultaneously. So that's why you would go to Antigravity. So here is the link. Please go to this link, antigravity.google/download, or you can also scan this, and you can also scan this. Let me just show you the page, Anti-Gravity. I know I'm not sharing it. I'll share the window shortly. First go to antigravity.google/download. You should be able to see and download for your respective operating systems, Anti-Gravity 2.0, Anti-Gravity CLI, or Anti-Gravity IDE. So let's download Anti-Gravity IDE and get started with that. Yeah. So go ahead and download it for whichever OS you're working on. I already have that. So this is what it looks like. So I'll allow you like 30 seconds if you want to go ahead and download and open it, but it's okay. You can do it later at your own time too. I'll just go through the steps in the slides first and then we'll discuss. All right. So agent manager, the first thing that you see in the center is the agent manager, unless you open ID, in which case the agent manager will be on the right hand side. You can start your conversation there. Look at this prompt. It's a very high value prompt, similar to the one that we discussed. You're an app builder who prioritizes good user experience. Create a web app that helps me track my food calories and water intake. I plan to use this app daily to count my calories and track my water intake, and I want weekly summary. It would be good to use AI to track my calories if I can provide pictures of my food. Create whatever theme and vibe I want. That's it. Now that's the prompt that is getting entered in this particular uh, agent manager prompt area. All right. So look at this video. I'll just leave it on for a minute. You entered the prompt and instantly it is asking you a few questions. It's automatically opening the browser and showing to you what it looks like. That's it. Go from prompt to publishing in 15 minutes. All right, agent manager. So for first time vibe coders, this is the place to start. You can start by giving a new prompt in the playground. The conversation mode and model, which is in the bottom of the prompt area. So this is selecting between planning and agent mode and fast mode as your conversation mode. In planning mode, it'll be telling you why it's doing what it's doing and how to do it and is this okay. I mean, of course, it'll ask questions here everywhere if you design for it to do so. But planning mode is like a little bit more thinking and additional details, whereas fast mode is your fast-paced updates and conversations. Remember that planning mode consumes more tokens, so it will take up a lot of time. So it's always better to keep it in fast mode if you are um, if you are mindful of that. All right, here you can also select the model of your choice. In this case, Gemini 3 Flash. That's what is being shown here. All right, where are we? So here we go. So you click planning mode, sorry, the planning and the fast conversation modes. Next is the model part. The next one is agentic browser. On the left hand side in the bottom, you'll see the browser option. So this has a unique agentic browser mode, which can launch Chrome and manage to complete tasks just like a human would. So if you open a browser and ask it to verify or refer something else, or go log in and come back and do something, it'll be able to do all those things just like you would do it. Its native integration with Chrome allows you to demo your full app in agentic mode inside your browser itself. The editor mode. Once you go to editor mode on the top right corner, you can switch to this. The moment you go into that, you will see the files, artifacts, terminal, etc. Just like a code editor, IDE, integrated development environment. So you will go to that mode. In the editor mode, you will see on your right hand side the agent bar where you can see responses from the agent and use the dialog box to write your prompt. Very similar to what we saw in the AI Studio, but this one has a lot more like direct terminal connection, and you'll see the conversation, the terminal commands getting executed, and permissions and other things right in the in the editor mode on the right hand side. The bottom part you see terminal. This is where you can actually see your terminal and start writing commands. Files and artifacts are in the top front and center. So this area will show AI generated files and artifacts that are generated during the either the prompt phase or during the build phase. It will get generated as and when you go through the process of building your application. On the left hand side, as usual, as in the case of any other integrated development environment, you will see your file explorer, which will give you access to the files in your project. All right, while you're at it, some of the things that you keep in mind: define the goal. We already discussed that. Define the how, define the success criteria, which is the goal, the context, and other things. And assign a seniority or a specialty to an agent to give it a role. When you're saying a role, assign a seniority so that it thinks. Don't say you're the CEO because that's the topmost seniority that you can. That's not the intention, but yeah, to that particular skill set, whatever is required, assign that particular goal, and then use the at file name or directory to point exactly where the agent needs to look if you're already aware of it. Again, after implementation, run the app and record a browser session video showing the successful login flow. If you have issues, if you have anything, you can just use that recording to iterate and say or update any changes that you want to make. If you have any custom internal API logic, you don't have to explain it in every prompt. If you have some repeat steps that you want your agent to follow, you can create a skill, which is and set of instructions is what we call a skill. It can either be it's just an MD file with instructions or with details or with connection credential. Don't put credentials, but you know what I mean. You can parameterize it. Please perform a security audit, especially for API keys. Check if any keys are hard coded in the source. Refactor it if they are, and go use an environment variable or secret service or anything of that um, level, so that you don't accidentally hard code anything in your source. Ensure that the .git ignore is properly configured so that when you're syncing your code to your version control, doesn't it doesn't automatically sync your credentials and the sensitive files to your GitHub repository. So I think once again we lost track of the tab that I was sharing. So I don't know where I was. I showed the download mode, and I hope I came back at this point. There we go. So build your first app in Agent Manager. So this is where I think I started showing. Yeah, I started showing here. So the moment you put in the app in the agent in the prompt area, it automatically goes into the Q&A and the understanding of what exactly you want to build, and directly takes it to browser to show you the outcome of what it will look like, or what it looks like. And the agent manager is similar to what we saw in AI Studio. The new conversation is where you start typing your prompt, you start changing modes, conversation modes from planning and fast mode. Planning for long discussions, for deep dive, deep research, complex tasks, and fast for ultra fast responses, so that you don't have to use up your tokens. And then you also get to choose your model right here. In this case, Gemini 3 Flash is chosen. And on the left hand side, you see the agentic browser in the bottom. So this gives the browser mode, which automatically launches Chrome. And this allows Antigravity to demo your app in full agentic mode, and you can directly say what you need it to change in your application. And once you open the editor mode, it automatically brings you to your on the right hand side. You see the agent moves to the right hand side, similar to AI Studio where the agent moved to the left hand side. So here it moves to the right hand side, but in the bottom you also have terminal. So this is the terminal where you write commands, run commands, and see responses from command prompt. And on the top you have the artifacts and files. This is where your code, you'll see very similar to any IDE. You see the code changes, you see your actual code, you see the output artifacts that get generated, you see right there. On the left hand side, you see the project explorer, the file explorer, the folder structure, and everything. I already walked you through the prompting techniques, so I don't have to go through this. There's nothing here to show. It's more about understanding. I already explained. Remember, there is something called a skill, which is a set of instructions that are repeatable in nature, but they get used across your workspace, across your project, depending on how you scope it. So that you don't have to explain it every single time. A custom set of instructions need to be followed. So that's another thing you would want to look at. All right, time to build. The antigravity.google/download and download the antigravity IDE. And the moment you download, you open it, you see something like this. At first, you won't see it on the right hand side. The prompt agent manager opens up in the center. Provide your prompt, it's okay, whatever you want, and then click editor mode. Once you click editor mode, you will come to this page that you're seeing on my screen, which is not visible. I know, I'll share right now. Okay. I hope you're able to see my anti-gravity IDE right now. Like I said, when you first launch anti-gravity agent manager, you will see the agent, the prompt agent manager in the middle. You provide your prompt, or you will see the IDE. Either way, it's fine. If you open IDE directly, your agent manager will be on the right hand side, as you see in my case. Um, all right. I will just open. Okay, on the left hand side, you see my file explorer. On the right hand side you see the agent conversational pane or the agent manager pane. I've already given my first prompt right here, the same prompt that I was reading through when I was talking about it, and then it went for 11 seconds and it got back with something. It's waiting for me to choose proceed because I have set it up like that. I've asked it to always take my permission before executing something. So it came up with the implementation plan. I'm just going to open folder. Okay, let me just get started again one more time. So this is anti-gravity ID. You can use this time to actually um, download it and get started. I'm just trying to open an existing project. Okay, let's open this. Here we go. I have an existing project right here. Let's just say I'll paste the same. Oh, no, this is not what I wanted. I'll paste the same prompt that is there in the slides that we were walking through. If you remember the slides here, I'm just not showing anything. I'm just copying the prompt, which I can use. All right, so here we go. I copied the prompt and I'm pasting it right here and I hit enter. Don't worry about the Gemini.md. I'm actually not using it. I'm only putting the prompt right here and it's just analyzing all these things, but I don't want it to care about any of those things. Just go ahead and think about what I want, the app that I want to build, which is the water tracker, calorie and water tracker. And in the bottom right corner, as you can see, I have chosen the model Gemini 3.5 Flash. If the model is not already showing for you, you can click that and choose from Antigravity the model of your choice right here. All right. And then it is asking me to approve the implementation plan. I'll just say, okay, go ahead and proceed with it. So this is how it gets to work. It asked my permission. I said proceed, and it's starting to think. It's just generating the index.html. It's designing the aesthetic. It's working on it. It's giving me the updates of what it's doing. As you can see on the left hand side, the file explorer, it keeps growing. It keeps building. I'm going to accept all. Okay, it says it has completed execution of, sorry, it has completed the development of the water tracker, calorie and water tracker web application. Summary of what was created. As you can see on the right hand side, it has actually created index.html, style.css, and app.js. You can actually say, I could have said, I want a specific tech stack. I did not do that. So it just went ahead and built with the tech stack of its choice. And I've accepted what I wanted here, right? Yeah, I already gave proceed for the implementation plan and all of those things. All right, now I'm just going to say, okay, go ahead and test the app. It's asking me whether I'm okay to run this. I'll say yes, allow this time and submit. There you go. It's asking me to launch it from localhost.8080. There we go. The app is ready. If you're not able to see, I hope you're all able to see my, I have shared the whole screen. So you should be able to see the calorie and water tracker app that I asked it to build based on the instructions that I had provided. It's just built something. So I can say I ate dal fry. I don't know, whatever. Yeah, so simply just keep doing what you want, and you can actually test it out end to end and see what where you are and hydration level and all that. I have to, for AI to work, I need to provide an API key, but definitely do not design it in a way where your API key is taken from the UI. Don't do that. Even though it's encrypted, or at least it's obfuscated here, you shouldn't be actually designing it in a way that your API key is taken as input from the UI. Make sure it is deployed in runtime. Here, I'm not deploying it, so you're just seeing it. Now, for taking it one step further, I'm going to go here to Antigravity and ask it to change something. You can, but I can say, now I want you to deploy it to Cloud Run with API key as an environment variable. That's it. So now it'll probably give me a command or ask. It will not only give me a command. The difference between AI and agent is AI will tell you how to do something. Agent will go ahead and run it for you, and it'll ask you permission. Can I go and run it? So now it's asking me permission to proceed. I say, okay, proceed. Okay, accept all. It has created a Docker file now. So I'm going to accept it because you need a Docker file to directly go push it to Cloud Run. It's also changing the index.html. I hope it is removing API key from the UI. Accept. One more change it has done. So I've accepted that. Now it's asking me whether it can go ahead and run the gcloud command. I say, yeah, allow, submit. Okay, because the bucket doesn't exist. Now I have to provide more details about what needs to be done, but it's able to self heal by giving other options. So it's giving me more options to solve that problem. But I would not go through all that. I would simply tell it, you know what, just use the gcloud run deploy command. Here is my project ID. Go ahead and deploy it there. I'm not doing that right now. It already knows for some reason. It says permission denied, but it'll fix itself. Step by step, it will be able to fix it and deploy this app to Cloud Run. All right. So it'll go through multiple steps and it will be able to deploy it in the end, and that's the whole point, right? See, right now it's trying to get the project details and it's trying to list it and it's trying to run commands in order to get that. So you get the point. We are not trying to like run deploy it right away. I need to give it some more details to get the deployment successful end to end. But the whole point of this is to show to you that this is how you get from building it to deploying it. um, and Yeah, so this is how you get to deploying it, and it asks me if I can go ahead and approve it for deploying it to cloud run. I've said approve again. So the moment it is successful finding the artifact, getting it to the registry, and then getting it past the build and containerization phase and deployment phase, it'll say, hey, your deployment is successful, here you go, this is the endpoint, and then I can use that endpoint and we can all play with it, right? So that's exactly the life cycle. So I'm going to stop it right here. I'm mixing two projects, so that's why it's not able to successful, because I'm logged in with my personal account and I've given the project ID as something else in my skill. So that's why it won't deploy. But that's not the point. The point is for you to understand how to get from when your instructions and your details are all accurate and unambiguous, you will be able to successfully build, deploy. Think, build, and deploy just like we wanted to in the first place. So now I will just stop sharing my screen. Oh, sorry, I was trying to cross the shared screen. So anyway, so you get the point. This is how we go from the idea to vibe coding to deploying and get your idea to application in less than 15 minutes. So we did both. We did hands-on part of the AI studio. We also got started with Antigravity IDE. You can also use Antigravity in the agent manager mode. If you are a pro, you think like, okay, I'll just get some help and directly export the code to my workspace and I'll work from there. You can do that. Or you can use Antigravity CLI from within your like Cloud Shell editor and then use your own editor and then use Antigravity CLI, deploy that there and use your install it there and use your Antigravity CLI from the command line of your own IDEs. So either way, you can choose whichever one you want. But the whole point is start somewhere, get your idea to application. And if you are already an advanced or experienced developer, this should be a breeze for you because you want to already build. You'll just use the agent to help you in the thinking process, to help you with fixing, to get started, to ease your process of building. But for someone who's brand new, who wants to get started with application development, but also needs to understand, remember all the prompting techniques and the advanced tips that we walked through in both the Google AI Studio world and the anti-gravity world, the anti-gravity sections of the video. We just talked about some best practices and key things to remember and keep features that you can leverage. So remember all of those things when you get into building your application, building your idea, or giving your idea a life. So that's exactly what I wanted to conclude this session with. I will definitely share the deck. I will do that. I'll share it along with the email tomorrow. Can we change the idea that was given at the time of yes, yes. August 14th is when you decide. The moment you put in your idea in the tool that will be provided for you for your tracking, project submission, other things, that's when your ideas froze. Don't submit multiple ideas. Just come up with one and stick to it. So until the the cutoff date, it's there. You can come up with your idea. You can change your idea. Yeah, I understand that it might be difficult for those folks who are hearing about vibe coding for the first time. Don't worry about it. Just go to you if you want, you can replay the video later. It's available on demand. You can understand what vibe coding means. We started from the scratch. We started with AI Studio. We started with the basic concepts of what is vibe coding, what are the common terminologies that we'll be looking at. And the reason we had to rush through this because I wanted to cover both AI Studio and Anti-Gravity IDE so that you have all the options and tools in your hand that will empower you to build. So I see Tejaswini, you have highlighted that it's a lot. I totally get that. It might be difficult, but I will share the deck also. Just go through that, and most likely by the end of this or whenever you start building, this will be a breeze. So basically, just to recap what vibe coding is, it is to get the help of AI and agentic AI to build your idea for you while you're aware of how you want to build it and what tech stack and terminologies and other services you want to choose. AI will help you get there faster. Either you're relying on it entirely, or you're relying on your own intelligence to get there to a shape, and you use AI's help in expediting the last few steps or getting it to solve the problems or solve the integrations or anything of that sort. So that's why we wanted to cover exclusively one session for vibe coding, because if you're not vibe coding right now and you're building old school, it's not a problem. It's just that you're missing out. There's so much that AI and technology have has to offer in your build journey. So definitely use that. Don't be left behind. I'm not trying to scare you, but don't miss out. There's so much that the vibe coding tools have to offer these days. So leverage that in order to enhance and shape your idea and bring it to a much better place. One last thing, use that. Remember, for the intent phase, I said you go to Gemini and ask questions. Go to gemini.google.com to brainstorm your ideas, to get started with, okay, this is what I want to build. Phrase a prompt for me. Tell me how to vibe code, right? And then go take that prompt and use it in Google AI Studio. So use that for intention framing as well. No, API key will not be provided. You have to use your own API key. I showed to you how to get API key. API key is the moment you register, you have a basic project ID. It will directly give you API key free of charge, free of cost. Of course, once you start using, there'll be like free quota for a day. If you cross that free quota, it'll not work, or it'll be available at a charge. But for the application, the build phase that you're going to do, make sure that you are storing it in a safe place. You're not exposing that in your code, and you're not using it in vibe coding. You're using the API key only for your application, either through a secret or through an environment variable. Then you should be good to go. It's at free of cost. You need to bring your own API keys. I already, in the beginning of the session, that's the first thing we saw, how to get your API key. Uh, Sh- Sakshi has a question. Do we have to use everything we learned from all five labs in the project? Not necessarily, although all these five labs will be a window for you to step into Google Cloud and also the world of AI, Gen AI, and data. So, yes, you will, even if you don't plan to, you will end up using something that you've learned in these sessions. But yes, you need to use Google Cloud technologies. The idea is to use Google's technologies. You cannot be using conflicting products for the build phase. So that will be disqualified. Of course, you will be building Google technologies, Google Cloud services, Google models, and stuff like that for the build phase. So yes, even if you don't plan on it, you will, because we are covering a wide variety of topics, you will end up using some of the things that we discuss in these five sessions. Not everything though. Yes, I will share the deck once the session's over, but tomorrow you will receive it in email. You can see previous year's projects in Code Vipassana's Medium blog channel. You can also, if you're following me on LinkedIn, you will have my Medium posts here and there, but just go to Code Vipassana Medium channel. You will see all the previous year's projects. No, you don't have to use a Pachamama registered email ID for your AI Studio projects. You can use your personal Gmail account, anything that you intend using. Can you share? Yeah, deck I'll share. Um, So once it's deployed on cloud, it will be accessible for as long as you keep it there and not delete it, or like remove your project or delete your whole project itself. So configure it in a way, because Cloud Run is elastic in nature. You will scale down to zero, meaning you won't be charged if your application is deployed. You'll be charged for the number of calls that are being made. So there are like bare minimum, there are like free calls available for a specific period of time. So as long as you don't plan on publishing your Cloud Run endpoint on LinkedIn or some public social profile, you should be good. You won't be using up your criteria. We'll only use it for evaluation, and you will be using it for testing purposes. So it won't be much. So it'll be there. I'm talking about the cloud run deployed endpoints. Antigravity, use your Gmail account, that you use your account. Yes, Gmail account, because you will have to log into Google Cloud also, right? Because you will be integrating with Google Cloud services. Yes, you can create external app for Salesforce CRM also, but the whole point here is, remember, you have to use Google models or Google services, technologies, Google Cloud services. So you need to have one of those at least. You will get to know about where to submit ideas and all as we get closer. I will definitely send those details out right in time. Don't worry about that. It can be tech driven idea as well. It doesn't have to be app based only. No specific domain. The reason is, if I give a domain or a problem statement, you will all be ending up vibe coding and getting the same experience, which I don't want. I want you to come up with a problem statement in any domain of your interest, or you build what you're passionate about, right? Whether in whatever industry your passion lies. So whether it's an idea, a project, or a learning journey, or it's a startup idea, whatever it is, use this as a platform. Like I already established that this time we are collaborating with NASCOM. You will get more details on that soon. So the finale will be held in NASCOM's event. It's a hybrid mode. You will be able to join virtually, just like you are now, and the top certain number of folks will be able to attend in person, and the top 10 will be presenting as well. But at the same time, there will be folks who are listening in. There'll be folks who are interested in hiring. There'll be folks who are interested in the idea that you're building. We never know what the these are all opportunities. There's nothing guaranteed. Like, we never can guarantee these things because these are opportunities. Make the best use of it, is what I would like to say. You should use Cloud Run endpoint unless there is a specific reason why you can't use it. Otherwise, I would request or recommend using Google Cloud Services, not Vercel, if that helps. I'll say more about what we expect in the build phase. Just that it shouldn't be something basic like I built a text summarization tool or something. It has to be intentional. It has to have relevance. It has to be a problem that is getting solved. It has to be, it doesn't have to be like groundbreaking, but it does need to have value to it in some area or industry or section of your work at least. Like, it has to have some relevance that advanced, because you're all working professionals, right? So the goal is for you to elevate that. It doesn't matter if you're starting off in tech, you're an experienced professional in some other industry, that's totally fine. Your problem statement will be judged, not just the technology. The technology might be new, but that's why we are introducing you all to vibe coding, so that not everyone's an expert here building applications, right? So that's the reason. Yes, yes, you can use same idea or different idea, or you can enhance the idea, everything. Unlike last year, this time you have the opportunity to enhance your ideas. But once you submit the idea in the tool and start adding details to it, you cannot change it. So make sure before you start putting the details, by mid August in the tool that will be shared to you, you finalize your idea. Until then, you have time. All right, so we are at time. I want to stop here, but I hope we were able to take a little bit of Q&A at least, compared to the previous sessions, a little bit more of Q&A. So I'm really glad that you brought in the questions. The only thing is, don't be scared to get started. I know it's all a lot. Just go to AI Studio. If you're brand new, if you're stuck, just go to aistudio.google.com, the link that I shared, /apps, get your API key and get building. That will remove that fear factor. Solo or groups, it's actually solo. Typically that's what we encourage, but we also, it's okay if when you're networking in the group, if you find a partner that you want to work together, but it's totally up to you. You will have to manage that interaction and other things that will, like, you both will be given an opportunity to submit and everything, but only one person needs to submit, only one person needs to track. So it's up to you, but keep it to a minimum of two if you're finding folks who are like-minded in the group. That's why we are networking, right? You can find your partners there, but only one person needs to submit it in the tool. One person needs to take the lead on tracking it. So make sure that you determine who that person is, and you need to maintain and manage that. All right. Thank you so much. I would be sending more details and also share the slides um, tomorrow, most likely. And then on session 4, we will be talking about multi-model, sorry, not model, multi-agent systems, multi-agentic applications. It's on 10th of August. I'm just looking at the date here. It's on 10th of August, 8:30 p.m. So I'm really excited to seeing you all there, to see you all there. Let's stay connected in the channel and also in the meetup group. I know the Discord channel has been giving trouble for some folks. If you're not able to connect there, connect in meetup group. There are some folks who are connected there as well, so you can start your discussion and keep going in groups there as well. In our Datapreneur social meetup group, so both are available. Some folks were able to join Discord today. The issues got resolved, looks like, but I can't promise. So if Discord prevents more people getting into our existing server, please use the meetup group. Either way, the goal is for you to network with each other. So we are there, the leads, Code Vipassana leads, Googlers who are helping us out in the session, all of us are there in both, so feel free to use either one of the forums. Thank you so much. See you all in the next session, which is on 10th of August, 8:30 p.m. Bye.